You can't open a blog or a publication without hearing about ChatGPT. Let's explore some of the practical uses of ChatGPT, this incredible AI application, and your MarTech stack in this episode of Closing Time. Thanks for tuning in to Closing Time, the show for go-to-market leaders. I'm Chip House, the CMO at Insightly CRM, and I'm joined by Gene Marks, a nationally recognized columnist, best-selling author, and business speaker at over 70 events per year. Welcome to the show, Gene.
Chip, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's super great to have you on, and I'm excited about the topic today. I know you've been, a long time just passionate supporter of new cutting-edge technologies, and I know that recently you wrote an article about ChatGPT, which is not new, but it really has hit the news in the past several months. And I was intrigued by, I think it was 27 different uses that you came up with for ChatGPT for your business. And this show is kind of focusing on go-to-market, so sales and marketing and customer success.
Sure.
So I want to talk today, I guess, let's start with sales, and how could ChatGPT be put to use for a salesperson, maybe to write an email, to develop a sales pitch? You want to drill into that?
Honestly, just yesterday, Chip, my wife runs a small nonprofit in Philadelphia where we live, and she's like a technology Luddite. I mean, she's not bad with it, but she is whatever. But she got introduced to ChatGPT, and she had like a donor email she wanted to send out, to pitch for donations for her nonprofit. And it's not like it's very hard for a lot of people to write and come up with those kinds of ideas. So she went on ChatGPT and said, please construct for me, an email for my donors using this tone and, focusing on these topics. And it wrote the email for her. I mean, it was pretty crazy. I mean, one thing that people don't realize with ChatGPT is that it's not replacing human beings. It's just making us work that much more productively. And it gave her that much of a thwack, to like move forward with this pitch email. And then she could take it and then sort of, wordsmith it into something that was ready to go for prime time and then send it out. So from a sales perspective, one of the biggest issues that I have as a sales, because I'm in sales in my small business, sometimes you want to reach out to people and you're like, I don't even know what to say now, or I don't want to bother them. What do I talk about? ChatGPT comes up with some good ideas and good drafts of emails to go out and send to prospective clients and customers, as well as existing clients and customers.
One of the examples you gave there, you talked about tone, right?
Yeah.
And so actually it being sensitive to tone or level of expertise is just incredible to me. And so if I'm a salesperson, I can't just say, hey, develop a pitch from my company to this company and then send it off, right? When you talk about the human touch, I probably should look at it first, right?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you can give ChatGPT instructions as to tone. You can even ask it to include information about a certain product or service that you're providing. And honestly, if that information can be Googled and found online, ChatGPT will find it and incorporate it, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, in the end, you still have to review this email and make sure it's capturing you. And also that it's one of the biggest complaints about ChatGPT is that it's not accurate, and what a shock, Chip, right? Some technology not being accurate. Never heard of that before. So, you got to take it with a grain of salt. It's a productivity tool. It's not a replacement for human beings.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about on this show for salespeople to best leverage the knowledge that they can get from LinkedIn Sales Navigator, from their CRM, really to develop a highly personalized outreach, every time they're reaching out to prospects, the show me, you know me, and those are much more likely to elicit a response. And I would assume that ChatGPT just makes that a lot easier to do, right?
Yeah, it does. It's funny. I don't even think that we're even seeing a fraction of the power of ChatGPT. I can say this because I don't work for Insightly, but I know that at some point in the not too distant future, Insightly is going to be incorporating, AI tools like ChatGPT. All the great CRMs are doing that. And ChatGPT is an open sourced application, so it can be integrated, into all sorts of different platforms. So when when that technology evolves and gets more mature, and when we have more developers and we have more great companies like Insightly that are doing those types of integrations, yeah, a salesperson will be able to give it instructions to use personalized information from your and tell it, I'd like to send this email to everybody with blue eyes and green hair who's an Eagles fan about this topic, and make sure you mention this. And ChatGPT will be able to dig into your CRM database, pull those people up, and construct that email for you in a real personalized way. And it'll cut down a lot of time, that's for sure.
Yeah, no question. So on the marketing end, I actually have a little bit of experience with it. I was curious at how we could use it to write blogs, right? And so we have an idea for our SEO program, what keywords and phrases we need to rank for. And so, we did the work. We developed even an outline, help it a little bit, gave it an outline, and out came a pretty great draft. So I wasn't staring at a blank page anymore. And of course, I had to add some personal elements to it, a little bit of personality, pull out a few things that I found objectionable, maybe about competitors or whatever. But super impressed by it. So talk to me more about putting ChatGPT to use for marketers.
I think that there is a potential that ChatGPT will be a real headache for search engines like Google and Bing. And here's the reason why. You're using ChatGPT to come up with good, informative, educational content. And that's great. And you're already demonstrating that it can be used to do just that. Fine. But Google right now, one of the factors that Google uses to rank websites is activity and unique content that's being generated on a website. So right now, or before ChatGPT, you would have to pay bloggers to sit there and write stuff and use keywords and do it frequently enough that it keeps your website vibrant enough that it's being found and ranked by Google. Well, now with ChatGPT, I mean, geez, Chip, I mean, you could instruct it, for 10 minutes a day. You could have it, vomit out some type of a blog for your website that uses the keywords. It might not even be that great, but I bet you there's going to be a lot of people that say, I don't really care as long as it's just generating unique content every day. And that's, going to factor into my ranking with Google. And at some point, those search engines like Google and Bing are going to be like, we might need to be changing our SEO factors because people are really taking the tool of ChatGPT and using it to such an extreme that they're just generating a lot of stuff on their blogs, but it's not even that good. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and you're totally right. The future of how that all plays out between Bing and Google will be fascinating as AI takes its seat there. I saw that Google did come out and say, hey, we don't care if it's a human written or machine written. It just has to be quality, authoritative content. I'm glad that they did that, at least for now, huh? So how about other specific use cases? Something that we've ideated about was just writing a marketing email, right? I mean, you talked about a couple of different cases for sales emails and outreach, et cetera. How well do you think it would do a marketing email?
I mean, it's going to depend on the person giving it the instructions. So the more data you can give it and the more, influence that you have on it, the more direction that you give to it, the better that email will be. I think it'll be better, Chip, than like a typical, first year or entry level marketing person that just graduated college. I think it's bringing with you a lot more intelligence and experience to actually do a better job in creating a marketing email. The other thing that it will also help do is, in my Forbes column, I listed out like 27 ways that ChatGPT can be used in your business. And, on the marketing side, besides those marketing emails, it's also like product information and brochures as well. Again, if you give it the right information, you can say, create, content for a brochure that helps me formulate, and describe this product. Already people in the real estate industry are using ChatGPT to come up with, innovative or catchy real estate listings. You know what I mean? And, and then they're putting those into their marketing emails as well. Yeah. So it's all good. It's just, again, ChatGPT, I think, will take you, so far, and then somebody with a little bit more experience can pick it up and, wordsmith it into something that's just better.
Yeah, I think it just makes the individual more powerful. One thing you wrote about in your article, Gene, was how maybe even customer support organizations or customer success organizations could use it to interact when customers have a question, or even providing an interface for customers to type in and get their own response right on a website or something like that. But talk to me more about that scenario. Like if I'm a customer support rep and I need to get help myself from a knowledge base or on the internet, how do I do that?
So for the customer support rep right now, what choices do you have? I mean, if you're looking to get information from your a customer or a client calls up with a problem, maybe you've got a knowledge base in there, maybe not. Maybe you've got some reporting tools, maybe not. But think about it. There is a whole bunch of different data in your company, both external and internal, that have answers to a lot of the questions that your customers are asking you about. And with a ChatGPT type of platform that is integrated with your systems, your ticketing system, your ERP system, your CRM system, you can have one interface to ask ChatGPT just a natural language question and have it come back and deliver to you the questions, the answers that you want, so you can give them right back to the customer. And then hopefully have that go directly into a ticket or into your CRM system to be used in the future. That's if you're a customer service rep. For the customers, I mean, the opportunities are limitless right now. I mean, not only can the big companies, leverage it, but smaller companies will be able to as well. And that way their customers can ask questions and continue to ask follow-on questions. It doesn't have to be like specific black and white question and answers. It can even go off script a little bit, because the technology is such that it can, it can pivot with that and provide you other answers to your questions. The biggest issue I think we'll have in the future is just making sure those answers are correct and they're coming from the right sources, But it just expands the ability of customers to get information on their own in a real human-friendly way, and for customer service reps to dig further into issues and get information for them fast, and then communicate it with their customers. It's pretty crazy.
For sure. So final thoughts, Gene. So we learned about sales, marketing, CS, and how we might be able to use ChatGPT. So what should we all go do now? What should we be educating ourselves on or actually doing now?
I'm going to get back to what I said before. If I'm an Insightly customer, I would be talking to Insightly. If I'm a customer of Microsoft or Epicor or whoever else, for my ERP system, I'm talking to them. I think if you're a small or mid-sized company, you can play around with ChatGPT like my wife does, and that's fine. You can go to OpenAI, Google OpenAI and ChatGPT, and you can monkey around with it. But really, you want to be having a close conversation and a frequent conversation with your software vendors, the people that you're relying on to run your business, because those are the people that are making the investments and are coming up with really great uses for AI like ChatGPT. And that will be the uses that will help you run your business that much better going forward. So that's my advice to people. That's what I'm telling my clients.
Great final thoughts, Gene. And thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciated having you on.
Chip, thanks for having me on as well. I want to wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we can talk again.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And thanks to all of you for joining today, and we'll see you on the next episode of Closing Time.